Shabbat Shalom, holy way of the Most High. Om Shabbat Shalom, I sense you. Om Shabbat Shalom, holy angel of the Most High. Om Shabbat Shalom, I sense your presence. Om Shabbat Shalom, holy way of the Most High. Om Shabbat Shalom, I sense your presence. Om Shabbat Shalom, holy angel of the Most High. Om Shabbat Shalom, I sense your presence. 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 I am the light within your soul. In the essence of truth and right, love makes the circle whole. Here we stand in line, waiting for some sacred sign. To find the balance is the purpose of this time. To restore the balance of the universal mind. And I sense your presence. I sense your presence. I sense your presence. In the presence of my Lord of light and love, everything I see aspiring to be free. And when I call to thee, I come on bended knee, surrender to the all-pervading light and love. And when I call to thee, I come on bended knee, surrender to the all-pervading light and love. Reflections of the one surrounding me with love. And I sense your presence. I sense your presence. I sense your presence. I sense your presence. Om Shabbat Shalom, holy way of the Most High. Om Shabbat Shalom, I sense your presence. Om Shabbat Shalom, holy angel of the Most High. Om Shabbat Shalom, I sense your presence. I sense your presence. I sense your presence. I sense your presence. Om Shabbat Shalom, holy way of the Most High. Om Shabbat Shalom. Om Shabbat Shalom, holy angel of the Most High. Om Shabbat Shalom, I sense your presence. I sense your presence. Within and without, above and below, yeah, yeah. East, west, north, and south, I sense your presence. Without and within, below and above, yeah, yeah. East, west, north, and south, I sense your presence. Without and within, above and below, yeah, yeah. East, west, north, and south, I sense your presence within and without, below and above, yeah, yeah. East, west, north, and south. I sense your presence. I sense your presence. I sense your presence. I sense your presence. In the presence of my Lord of light and love, everything that I see aspiring to be free. When I call to thee, I come on bended knee, surrender to thee, all pervading light and love. Reflections of the one surrounding me with love. I sense your presence. I sense your presence. I sense your presence. I sense your presence. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. And thanks to our musician today, Sakshi Zion, for the beautiful music. This is a special day at New Thought today because we're finally back meeting in person for the first time in at least 2 months. And we're glad that things seem to be winding down for COVID. We're all happy about that. And we're happy to have Sakshi as not only our music minister, but he's also, I'll introduce him a little bit later in the program. His talk today is titled Ancient Secrets of Success. We're going to start out this morning. Well, my name is Stephen Goss. I'm the facilitator for today. We have a different facilitator here at the New Thought Center of Hawaii every week. We're going to start now with an opening prayer. I can see me. Oh, them. Yeah, can you move your chairs because seriously. I'd like to start with an opening prayer. A prayer and our ongoing attitude are actually pretty much the same thing, so we're really praying all the time because we have an attitude all the time. And our attitudes are made up from our beliefs. And our beliefs are what we've just decided is true. So in this prayer, I would like us to be silent and decide or choose to believe for the best unlimited possibilities that can exist in your life and on this planet for all people everywhere. And especially we send our best beliefs for peace for all of those involved in the conflict in Ukraine on both sides of the line. So now let's take that moment of silence to practice our faith in the ultimate good outcome for all involved. Thank you. Welcome back. Uh, my apologies to our audience. I know they're not missing much. They're not seeing me, but to dispel any heaviness or worries what's going on in this planet today, I would like to introduce a little levity. And I'm going to read this 10 Rules for Being Human by Sherry Carter Scott. 10 rules. Number one, you will receive a body. You may like it or hate it, but it's yours to keep for the entire period. You will learn lessons. You are enrolled in a full-time informal school called life. There are no mistakes, only lessons. Growth is a process of trial, error, experimentation. The failed experiments are as much a part of the process as the experiments that ultimately work. That was number three. Number four, lessons are repeated until they are learned. The lesson will be presented to you in various forms until you have learned it. When you have learned it, you can go on to the next lesson. Number five, learning lessons does not end. Oh my gosh. There's no part of life that doesn't contain its lessons. If you're alive, that means there are still lessons to be learned. Number six, there is no better place than here. When your there has become here, you will simply obtain another there that will again look better than here. Number seven, other people are merely mirrors of you. You cannot love or hate something about another person unless it reflects to you something you love or hate about yourself. Number eight, what you make of your life is up to you. You have all the tools and resources you need. What you do with them is up to you. The choice is yours. Number nine, your answers lie within you. The answers to life's question lie within you. All you need to do is look, listen, and trust. Number 10 is you will all forget all of this. Um, could we have a reading from the Science of Mind magazine now from Tony?
Okay, today's reading is called When You Do Your Dreams, You Enter a Relationship with the Divine. You lean into the compelling, the unfathomable good, which gives your life meaning and power in ways that you cannot even imagine. That's from Tama Keeves. Now, from Ernest Holmes, this is what he says. It is in our proper use of potentialities of the mind that rests our power to release ourselves from fear and discover a new freedom for expressing and experiencing that greater joy of living that is rightfully ours. And so here's the main reading. There are so many moving parts of the arrival of a moment. Every one of them is directed by the divine with purpose and with intention. I wake up for the beauty and grace of this moment and recognize the enthusiasm of spirit engorging itself on joyful exploration and play. I am at home in the infinite playground, and all the joy and laughter of spirit captivate my senses. All of me is open and receptive to the discovery of my unlimited expression of the divine mind. I lean into the experience of knowing my greatest truth. I am God's playground, and my life is Spirit's greatest joy revealed. I am the one dreaming the divine. All the good I dwell on is a good that Spirit dreams through me. All the joy I feel into all the joy I feel into is feeling into the fullest expression of the unlimited source, creating in its own likeness a peaceful heart and a perfect light. In the absolute of mind, my freedom unbinds me from rigidity and form. My inheritance is unlimited good, and I'm inspired to exemplify a joyful, rich, and playful existence so I may better serve the world. My true inheritance is the responsibility to share this good news with anyone who will hear me, and I confidently and unconditionally do so. With spirit as my companion, there's nothing to fear. Only excitement and anticipation are present within. I am present for all the moving pieces and all the shifting parts. The infinite playground opens wide its gates of possibilities for this eternal now. The affirmation, I'll say it and then maybe you can repeat after me if you choose. I unleash a radically joyful life into being with the power of play. So, together, I unleash a radically joyful life into being with the power of play.
Right.
And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Tony. I like that. Earlier, I didn't neglected to say anything about the COVID rules. According to the mayor and the governor of Hawaii, we're still in indoor space, so um, masks are required except by the folks up in front when they're speaking or singing. So thank you for adhering to the rules at least for a week longer. Hopefully, that's all. Sakshi, could you play some more music?
There's a land that I have heard about so far across the sea. There's a land that I've heard about so far across the sea. Have you on my dreamland would be like heaven to me to have you on my dreamland would be like heaven to me. We'll get our breakfast from the tree. We'll get our honey from the bee. We'll take a ride on the waterfall, and all the glory, we'll have them all. We'll live together on that dreamland and have so much fun. We'll live together on that dreamland and have so much fun. Oh, what a time that will be. Oh, just you wait, you wait and see. We'll count the stars up in the sky, and surely we'll never die. and surely will never die, and surely will never, never, never die. And surely will never die, and surely will never die.
Surely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Aloha.
Inspirational. I'd like to say something about the New Thought Center of Hawaii now. Not so much about our history as usual, exactly, but more about what maybe it is today, or its philosophy. So I'll start with if we go back a bit in time, and most of us can go way back. You remember the song Alice's Restaurant. If you've got any hippie in you at all, you surely remember that. But that was by Arlo Guthrie, and he bought the church that he sings about in Alice's Restaurant. And when he was asked by a traveling minister what kind of church it was, he said, well, it's a kind of bring your own God church. And I think that's kind of what we are at New Thought. It's like, we accept whatever works. Like if it leads to a certainty of happiness and honesty and respect, then that's fine. Uh, Now, some history. We started out as a church of religious science and changed and embraced the New Thought movement, but the basic principles are pretty much the same, and they do go something like this, that I'm responsible for what I see. Life is not happening to me, but through me, including the wind. And life doesn't happen to me from some like outside force. We're not the victims of circumstance. What we ask for is what we believe in. And it does manifest in our life. So if we have a faith in a good life, it eventually will happen. And before I introduce, yeah. Are you ready for another song? Okay, go for it. And then
All right, since we live in this beautiful Aina, Hawaii, land of rainbows, there's a great Bob Marley song, old Bob Marley song that always makes me feel right here at home in Hawaii. It's called Rainbow Country. And if you know it, feel free to sing along. And Mr. Music sure sounds good to me. I can't refuse it. What do we got to be? Feel like dancing, dance 'cause we are free. Feel like dancing, won't you come dance with me? Hey, Mr. Music, sure sounds good to me. I can't refuse it. What do we got to be? Feel like dancing, dance 'cause we are free. Feel like dancing, Won't you come dance with me? Got my home in the promised land. Still I feel right. Can you understand? Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Got my home in the promised land. Still I feel right here at home. Can you understand? Na 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 na. Though the road is rocky, sure feels good to me. If we're lucky, together we'll always be. Road is rocky, sure feels good to me. If we're lucky, together we'll always be. Rainbow country, rainbow country, rainbow country, yeah. Rainbow country, rainbow country, rainbow country, rainbow country, yeah. Rainbow country, I will ride it. Moon is rising, I will ride it. Sun is rising, I will ride it. Zion is rising, we will ride it. Are you really riding? Rainbow country, rainbow country, yeah. Rainbow country, rainbow country. Though the road is rocky, sure feels good to me. And if we're lucky, together we'll always be. In rainbow country, rainbow country. Here in rainbow country, yeah. Rainbow country, rainbow country, rainbow country. Here in rainbow country, yeah. Rainbow country, we will ride it. 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 Rainbow country, rainbow country, rainbow country, yeah. Rainbow country, rainbow country.
Very nice, Sakshi. For that, you deserve
you.
to get laid. Here, we just happen to have a beautiful lay for you. And, I forgot how this sound system works. Shayna, you might want, now you're going to have to boost everything, the master volume up a little. And it should start working again. It's never too late to go back and correct the past. So I forgot about asking a question. We decided to add that back in. So I don't want to lay it on side. So I made up a question. And Tony's going to go around and let you answer it. It's just, what do you do to relax besides meditating? How do you chill out?
This is Palmer. Even though it's a lot of physical work, I find being out in the yard, doing some landscaping, pulling weeds, planting trees, helps me to kind of relax my mind and my soul. It refreshes my soul.
Silence is good.
I contact the higher being at 2 o'clock in the morning when all is silent, when thoughts are
Um, that was Condor, by the way. Uh, my name is Paula, and my cat, my cat helps me to relax. She's always in the moment, and she has she has her purr motor going almost all the time. Um, so when I just sit down on a certain chair, it's the petting chair, and she joins me immediately, and whatever else I was doing or thinking about, it just goes away, and I'm in the moment relaxing with my cat China.
To relax, I read, I garden, and play with my cats.
My name is Charlene. I just take a nap.
I must not really need a lot of relaxation because I got a few things. Um, Working in the yard's a big one. Taking hot baths, go running. I play Sudoku and I do THC.
Nice.
I'm Patty, and I relax by breathing and listening to relaxing music.
I'm Tony. You know, we don't, I don't, I should say, I don't have to really focus on any particular thing. Hawaii makes it so easy to just be in it. All I have to do is look at the sky, look at the ocean, not even look, just to imbibe it. The green, the trees, the the trade winds, just breathe it in, and it's there. That always just it's so joyful, it's so sublime, it's so subtle and not so subtle at times. But I think just taking your day and just taking the moment and being absorbed by it is is helps my body, my mind, and my soul to relax.
Yes, I
Thank
love
you.
to by meditation, hiking, gardening, um, music, reading, cannabis, swimming, surfing. Um, yes, And even cleaning sometimes is kind of relaxing.
I'm Stephen, and I like, oops, I forgot. I like to be outdoors and look up in the sky and watch all the birds soaring around and listening to their music and stretching is good for me. If that doesn't work, I'll drink beer. Just kidding. So, um, so now we've all got used to speaking publicly. It's time for ordinaries and miracles. We're reintroducing that. A Course in Miracles describes a miracle as the way things are supposed to be naturally. And if one doesn't occur, then something's gone wrong. So I'm wondering, do any of you have any natural occurrences that you would like to share with us today? I know you're all very natural. Something must have occurred, right? Uh, well, I think it's a miracle that at least this whole COVID thing seems to be winding down. And I appreciate that. And it's a miracle also that the wild pigs haven't come back in 4 months. Okay, then now it's time for me to introduce our speaker for today. And I have those notes somewhere. No, this is a joke list. Quarantine turned us all into dogs. We roam the house all day looking for food. We're told not to get too close to strangers, and we really get excited about car rides. Okay. Hmm. Well, here we go. We got something. This talk is titled Ancient Secrets of Success. And these secrets come from universal principles that are found in ancient spiritual traditions, such as yoga, the teachings of Christ and Krishna, and the New Thought movement, and many other spiritual movements. Sakshi will show us how these principles and ideas are still being used today in the entrepreneur and business world. I had to practice saying entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur. I'm still not saying it. He explains how the success principles, such as the law of attraction, can be used by anyone to powerfully create a life of their dreams and even help attain a spiritual understanding or enlightenment. And Sakshi lives here on the Big Island. He's originally from Bloomington, Indiana. There he was a active member and leader in the Unity Church. Sakshi is a world traveler, and has and is studying yoga and meditation, Indian sacred music, and mantras with various spiritual teachers. Today, he's sharing his music and spiritual teachings that he's learned from his ongoing mystical quest. So now we welcome and give our attention to Sakshi Zion.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really honored to be presenting today. As he mentioned, I've been the guest musician before, and this is my first time presenting to New Thought Center. Um, and yes, I'm absolutely thrilled to be doing this. So thank you, mahalo, mahalos. So, first, I'd like to say, that success can be defined differently by everyone, first off. And I'm going to quote Earl Nightingale from The Strangest Secret, this legendary audio recording, actually, put out on vinyl a long time ago in like the 30s, 40s. I can't remember exactly the date, but I recommend listening to this entire thing, The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. And his definition of success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. So I find that to be an interesting um, and very accurate definition, especially when you consider success is defined by everybody differently. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. The progressive realization, it doesn't stop. This realization progresses and progresses, the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal, right? So, how do you define success? Meditate on that as we go on. Here's a couple questions that one might have when they think about success. Can anyone become successful? What is a worthy aim or goal, right? In the definition, the progressive realization of a worthy goal or aim. What is a worthy goal or aim, right? Is there any correlation between business success and spirituality? That was an issue I had a long time ago, actually. I was a monk, and I'll elaborate on that in a second. And so I had the idea that money was bad, that money is the root of evil and all these things, right? And then as a monk, um, some of the ideas were reinforced that idea, but I'll talk about what happened in a minute. What actions lead to success and what attitudes lead to success, right? So, can you truly be spiritually enlightened or seeking God and desire wealth and money at the same time? Is it wrong to be rich? Is money the root of evil, or is the worship of money evil? There's a distinction there, I think. Is it possible to be spiritual and rich? Now, here's kind of my little story of what happened. So, I was a monk. Um, I had like a whole, it's a longer story. I had like a spiritual bankruptcy, as a teenager. And then I went on this wild spiritual search. I didn't have, I was a little goth kid for a minute, and I didn't, wasn't into any spirituality for a minute there. And I had a turning point where I wanted to devour everything spiritual. So I started to look at every book that I could find: Hindu, Sufi, African religions, Judaism, Christianity, mystical Christianity, on and on and on. I was just devouring Native American spirituality, started going to sweat lodges, learning about shamanism, right? Eventually, I was led to Hawaii, to Maui, and I lived in an ashram in Haiku, Maui, with who, who became my spiritual teacher, who initiated me actually in the ancient Gaudiya Vaishnava lineage, which is a lineage that traces itself back to Krishna himself, actually. And it's actually a very ancient lineage, and there's several branches in India today, and they all claim to go back to Krishna or one of Krishna's great, great devotees in history and so forth. Um, so as a monk, I was renounced everything basically, shaved my head, living in the ashram, you know, just cooking and gardening, taking care of the cows. And that's, I had no job. I would go out to Paia and sell Krishna books. My first trip to India, I raised the entire $1,000 plus just selling Krishna books on the side of the street. Amazingly, still to this day, I'm like, wow, I was such a good salesman. How did I do that? the entire plane ticket plus money, spending money just by selling Krishna books on the side. Like there's something to that, right? How I was able to manifest that spiritual, the money that was needed to go on this spiritual pilgrimage, right? There's something. So, anyways, but my idea, my mindset though was that I don't need money. I'm just going to be a monk. I'm just going to go move to India one day. Um, Money is useless to me. Well, after some time living in the ashram, I decided to move back home to Indiana. And after a short time, I met a woman and we had a baby. And all of a sudden, reality smacked me in the face. You can't just, be a monk and have no money when you have a family to provide for, right? So I started to have to, work and take that more seriously, right? Yes, and it was a struggle trying to, understand, like and try to make money and to try to still devote time to spirituality and then I still had the same mindset though, even, having this child now and realizing that I had to work or whatever. Couldn't be a monk anymore. Um, but I still had this mindset that, money wasn't that important to me. And what is the importance? Money isn't the importance. I'll get to that later. It's the symbol of what it is. And, just having resources to abundance, basically prosperity in the new thought terminology is something of a spiritual substance. Yes. And so it's about having time, freedom, you know what I mean? Wealth of family, wealth of health, right? All these things constitute success and wealth, in my opinion. Again, what is wealth? What does success mean to you? That's all, it's different for everyone, yes? Anyways, my mindset was still a poor mindset, I would say. Then I stumbled upon a movie. It actually made a lot of big waves in the mainstream, in the new age circles, in the spiritual circles. You guys probably all remember it. It was called The Secret, right? And the Secret movie was about the law of attraction. It was like one of the first times a lot of us ever heard of the law of attraction, even though people like Napoleon Hill, Wallace Wattles, Charles Fillmore, they were talking about the law of attraction in the early 1900s. And what I found through my study is that Jesus talks about the law of attraction. Krishna talks about the law of attraction. Buddha talks about the law of attraction. All the great masters talk about it too. Right? We just kind of we think of it in this modern way. We think of it associated with that movie, whatever. So that movie kind of a light went off in my head though, because I'm seeing like people like Michael Beckwith and some, people that I was very inspired. Dan Assaraf and Lisa Nichols and Bob Proctor, and just the way these people talk, it was like a spiritual way they talked about wealth and abundance and the way things happen, the way they attracted things like that, right? And so I started to make this connection like, oh, you could be wealthy and spiritual, right? That's possible. Like it was a big aha moment for me, right? So after this, that's kind of where things started to open up for me in a different way, where I started to harmonize the ideas of prosperity and abundance with spirituality. So, um, there's a difference between the abundance and lack mentality, right? Um, there's enough for everyone is part of the abundance mindset, right? I can be successful. It's like a faith, it's a belief, it's a mindset, right? Thoughts become things. These are ideas that you have to kind of cultivate to develop this abundance versus lack mentality. Now, the mind is like a radio broadcasting station, right? So if you tune a radio broadcasting station, you turn it to a specific frequency, you can actually pick up a station, right? So in the same way, when you tune your mind to a specific frequency, you can pick up, different mindsets, different ideas, right? There's this thought that, you know, there were more than one people that discovered the light bulb, like Edison, like Tesla apparently was discovering around the same time that this thought form was already in the ethers, but two or more picked up on the frequency and they discovered it around the same time. There were other inventions that this also happened where two or more were picking up and having this same or similar discovery, but geographically they were far away from each other and not even aware of each other in some cases, right? So there's this frequency that you can tune into. So you can, if you tune into lack, you get want and lack. You turn it into abundance, you get more abundance. You start to see all the opportunities around you, right? Part of a law of attraction, part of the abundance mindset is just allowing the doors and the opportunities to come to you, because maybe um the result isn't immediate, but the law of attraction, you ask for an opportunity, so don't pass the opportunity, right? Take the opportunity and that will lead you to what you desire. Joseph Campbell said, the treasure that you seek, or the cave that you fear to enter, holds the treasure that you seek. Right? um So there's an interesting story, two interesting stories, one from Krishna and one from Jesus, that kind of elaborate on this kind of abundance mindset. So one time, baby Krishna, he's like this mystical baby youth, right? And Krishna eventually becomes this great warrior and lover of the gopis and um, killing all these demons and stuff. But when Krishna was a baby, he was the darling of Vrindavan. Everybody loved Krishna. They all wanted to hold him, and they're all proud of him, and they're always talking, and praising Krishna. But they don't realize that he's a divine avatar. Because he has this hypnotic spell over them. He wants to be treated just like a normal child. So even though he's this avatar, he puts this spell over his village so that they just treat him like a normal kid, but they can't understand why they're so infatuated with him, because he's so magnetic and attractive. Actually, the name Krishna means all attractive. So just the idea of Krishna is powerful. It's a powerful mantra for attracting anything, actually, if you want to get into mantras. Um, so there was a fruit seller that came to town, and she was coming through the village and she was selling her fruits and people would buy. And she was a very poor woman though, right? She comes once a week to through this different villages selling her fruits. And little Krishna came out, and he's like fruit, fruit, fruit. And little baby Krishna at this point, tiny little blue Krishna, and he has like no money. He just brings like a couple grains of rice, from his mama's, you know, jar or whatever. And he's like, fruit, mango, mango. And the fruit seller was like, oh, Krishna is so beautiful, so darling. So she gives him like a handful of fruits, just puts his, 5, 6 mangoes, and little Krishna is carrying them back home. Oh, mahalos, you know, and the fruit seller is very touched by just the presence of Krishna. She sees him run off back into his house, and then when she goes to pick up her bag of fruit, she looks down and it's full of jewels and gold coins and stuff like that. And because she gave of her heart, without expectation of anything in return, she was rewarded abundantly. And she already had that abundance, but Krishna, he made it more real. He made it more immediate, because she was able to give of the little that she had, and she received so much more. And this story is so similar to a story in the Gospels where there's a woman who goes to the temple of Jerusalem and she has but a mitre, and all the other scribes, Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the Pharisees, and even Jesus's disciples are like, what is she doing? She's barely offering half a penny. What good is it? Like what good is this to tithe to the Lord? And they're all like kind of sneering and making fun. And Jesus says, what she has given is all that she has, and what she has given is so much greater than those that have so much wealth and they give these big donations, because even though they have this great wealth, in proportion to what she has, she gave everything with the faith, knowing that I will give my last penny, knowing that more will come, knowing that I will be provided for, like the birds of the trees and the animals. The Lord provides for them. Of course, He will provide for me, right? So Jesus says her offering is so much greater than these wealthy Pharisees and Sadducees. Give and ye shall receive, right? That's the lesson. Now, your mind is just like, it takes a while to develop this faith, to develop this abundance consciousness, right? But your mind is like an instrument. If you practice in the cultivation of that skill, if you practice like a musician is practicing 7, 8 hours a day, you make it a habit, a habitual way of being, then you're going to become a master musician eventually, right? If you practice that much. So when you have um, when you practice this mindset, you'll start to, your mind will become that instrument. You will have a master instrument at use at all times, right? So it's not something that just happens overnight where you can all of a sudden start, and miracles do happen. But, the cultivation of skill is, and there's a great quote, repetition is the mother of all skill. So the more you repeat something, the greater you get at it, right? So any artist, any musician, any teacher is gonna tell you that, oh, how did you get so good? Oh, I just practiced so much. Right? So there's a great story, um, a great story about Catherine Ponder and tithing. So tithing is this way that you can practice this abundance mindset. Giving in charity maybe is another one. Giving, providing for other people in this way, you can develop this type of mindset. Um, so there was Catherine Ponder tells of this rich businessman who learned the hard way of reaching success through tithing, and then he thought that he didn't. So he had basically built this great wealth by tithing, and he was regularly giving to his church and building up this storehouse of abundance in his own life. He had a great house, he had cars, he had investments, and so forth. And then he got to a plateau of success. And then he was like, I'm good, I don't need to tithe anymore. And so he stopped. He stopped tithing, and things started to go downhill for him. And then all of a sudden, he kind of realized, he read a book and he was reminded of how he should be giving on a regular basis. And he was, had to give to a place that was spiritually nourishing to him. It wasn't just any place that he could give, right? Place that was spiritually nourishing to him, or a place that he genuinely felt like it was helping in uplift some other person's life, whether that was a charity or whether that was a kind word. He started to just give more and be more conscious of how he should be tithing in these different ways to his church, to his favorite charity and so forth. And once he restarted his tithing mission and his giving mission, his wealth started to grow exponentially, exponentially. So you see, like in the ancient traditions of Jesus, of Krishna, they're teaching, tithing is there, right? Jesus is, Krishna is showing, give and you shall receive, Um, there's there's a story of Jesus washing the feet of his disciples. There's a story of Krishna washing the feet of his disciple, right? They were able to humble themselves even though they were these great exalted personalities. The Buddha was a prince and he went to, you know, wander the streets and to look upon the downcast and the outcast, and he meditated with yogis that had given up everything, right? And so he had to learn, that the wealth that he was born with was only one aspect of wealth, that there was a spiritual substance that permeated everything. And that when he could see the beauty, the soul within all beings, whether it was the newborn baby or the sick man on the side of the street or the beggar or the prostitute, he started to see the soul, the true being in everyone. And Jesus was said to preach to the sick and the outcasts. He went amongst them not because he was poor and lowly, but to lift up their consciousness into a state of greater abundance and oneness with God, right? And by seeing this abundance, he duplicates, he multiplies the wine, right? He multiplies the fish and bread. Now, I know that story from a Gnostic perspective, where the bread represents knowledge and the fish represents the Piscean age. And he was the fisher of man. He was um, the first fisher king in the Arthurian legend, like this. And so it was more metaphysical. It's a teaching on astrotheology, but that's a whole nother topic. But he was multiplying their knowledge, right? He was making their cup overfloweth. And so everywhere he went, he was uplifting them, healing them. He said, you are healed because of your faith. So you go around, right? And you are healed despite the appearance of sickness. You are rich despite the appearance of lack. So while right now in this current moment, you might be struggling with this or that, right? You might have the appearance of sickness, the appearance of poverty, the appearance of debt. But the truth is that you are abundant, you are healed, you are wealthy, you are whole, you have all that you need within you all the time. The kingdom of heaven is within, right? Meditation is going within, finding those answers, letting that still small voice within guide you and lead you. So, success is the progressive realization of a worthy aim or ideal. You might start thinking, I don't, move up to I can't, move up to I want to, moving up to how can I, moving up to I'm gonna try, then moving up again, I can do it. And then finally, I did it. It's that mindset. You have to shift from I can't, I don't, to I can do it, I did it, right? And one of my favorite quotes of all times is Napoleon Hill from Think and Grow Rich. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. So if you can conceive it and believe it, you can achieve it. So that's the power of the imagination, right? Some say thought is creative, that everything is your thought. Everything is first. Everything that was created, everything that we see around us was first the thought of somebody, right? This chair, that mixing board, this laptop, somebody had the thought first before they created it. Just like this great universe, divine intelligence, infinite intelligence, thought it into existence. And Jesus healed with the power of his mind, the power of his faith. The soul believed, right? And you have that power. These things that I've done, even greater things shall ye do, right? There's another really interesting story, and how do we start to manifest the, okay, believe, believe, believe. That's great, but I'm so distracted. I'm having a hard time believing because my subconscious mind is always battling with me and saying, no, like I I want to be rich, but my reality is saying the opposite. So how do I get out of this negative mindset? How do I start to manifest these things? Well, you have to get clarity. You have to get focused. In the Bible, it talks about casting your net when Jesus and his disciples cast their net into the sea. The sea, Charles Fillmore of Unity describes this. The sea is the sea of infinite ideas, and the net is you getting focus, you getting clarity on what you want. So there's infinite possibility for you. You cast your net and get focused on what you want and bring it in, right? So Jesus is teaching this. How do entrepreneurs today? They write down their major definite purpose and they say it every day. They say, in the Napoleon Hill philosophy, you say, by this day, 3 months from now, I will have $10,000 in my bank account and I will do what I have to do, blah, 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 blah. Right. And so they use it like a mantra, right? And they create vision boards so that they can focus on that one goal, right? So cast your net, focus, get clear on what you want. Because let's say you want money, right? You say, I want to manifest money. But if you're not specific, you're going to walk by a quarter on the side of the street and you're not going to recognize it as the gift that you were given, the universe giving you what you asked for. You weren't specific. You didn't say $10,000. You just said money. and, the, and the universe gave you that quarter. But don't you dare pass up on that quarter. Because if you do, then you're passing up on your abundance as well. Abundance is everything, right? It's as small as a penny. It's great as $10 million, beyond billions, right? And beyond. Love, the things that money cannot buy, of course. This one thought teacher, abundance prosperity teacher, he tells a great story where he was out with he teaches this principle, like if you ask for abundance and you see a dirty penny on the side of the road, you pick up that dirty penny because it's all part of abundance, and just to deny that penny is to deny greater abundance coming to you. So he talks about the story. He was like at this red carpet dinner and he's all dressed up and they have a limo, and they're stepping out, the limo or going into the limo or something, and he notices like a penny in like a little puddle on the side of the street, and in front of all his friends, like in their gorgeous suits and gowns. He can't help himself. He preaches this to all his followers. So he gets down, and he grabs that dirty penny, and they're all like, "What the?" But he's like, "You don't understand, but I gotta have it." He takes that penny. He's not about to deny his abundance, right? This is a very, very wealthy man telling this story. Very successful. Another great story from the Mahabharata, from the Vedic tradition. Um, there's a story of Arjuna. Arjuna is the great archer. He's the one, Krishna, in the battle of Kurukshetra, when Arjun is fighting, against the evil ones on the battlefield. His evil like family members have gone astray, and Krishna is his charioteer, and he's guiding him, telling him the Bhagavad Gita, all these sacred principles, the song of God. And so Arjuna is that great archer, that great warrior. And before this, great battle with Krishna as his charioteer, there's a story of Arjuna, and he's practicing archery with his other students, fellow students, and his teacher. And his teacher, I'm forgetting the name at the moment, um, he puts like a fake bird up on a tree basically, and he's like telling all the students like, all right, aim at the bird, aim at the bird. And he said, and as they're aiming, he's like, he asked the first student, all right, what do you see? He's like, I see the tree, and I see the bird and the bird's feathers, and the cloud behind. He's like, all right, move it. He doesn't let him shoot. He asks the next student, all right, aim, ready, aim. What do you see? He's like, I see the bird and its beak and the tree branch that he's sitting on and the leaf right next to his head. He's like, no, move it. And he's like, Arjun, step up. And Arjun's like, all right, ready, aim. And he's like, all right, what do you see? And Arjun is like, the eye of the bird. Okay, do you see anything else? No, just the eye of the bird. He's like, all right, shoot. Right into the eye of the bird. Singular focus, right? So these ancient legends are teaching us how to achieve what you want, right? That laser focus. So another principle that you see in the ancient tradition as well as the modern success in entrepreneur world is this idea of a mastermind alliance. In the Vedic tradition, they call it Satsanga, right? The law of association. So a mastermind is, and Jesus says, when there are two or more gathered in my name, the Great Spirit is there. He's basically talking about the mastermind. In Napoleon Hill, in Think and Grow Rich, he says, when two or more come together with the same vision, the third mind enters in, infinite intelligence, the mastermind, and a synergy happens between these minds, right? In a satsanga is when a group of devotees, they gather and they sing praises, they read scripture together, they do their rituals together, and they get into this synergistic mood. And in the Vedic tradition, in the Hindu, Buddhist, in these ancient traditions, same with like monks and monasteries, right? Even Jesus, he had the Nazarenes. It was a specific sect that was separate from the main Sadducees and the Pharisees, and they didn't like what was going on at the Temple of Jerusalem, so they created their own, the Essenes and the Nazarenes, right? It was a secret society, and they were sharpening each other's axes, as it were, or they like to carry swords, but um, they're associating with others of like mind. And there's, you may have heard this, you are the sum total of the five people you spend the most time with, right? If you're around people that are always negative, you're going to start to speak and think negatively. If you're around people that are unhealthy, that you're going to maybe start picking up some of those habits. But if you're around people that are uplifting, positive, inspiring, encouraging you to go for your dreams, encouraging you to step into your, past your fears and breaking through your comfort zone, you're going to be more courageous, you're going to be more positive, you're going to be more healthy. you know if you are hanging out with people that never exercise as opposed to people that are always going and working out, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to be dragged along either way, right? So it's same with the spiritual life, same with the business and success life. If you're with people that are constantly like, oh, you'll never achieve that, just settle. Oh, I tried, 40 years ago and I was unsuccessful, so you shouldn't try. Why should you listen to them? What success do they have? Why should you take their advice? Right? So take the advice of those that, have the things that you want. You can have many mentors, right? You can have a mentor for your relationships, a mentor for your health, a mentor for your success and prosperity, a mentor for your spiritual life. And they can be different. Some have a great holistic life, and they are killing it in all areas. But usually we are all, struggling somewhere. So the law of association is so very, very important, right? Let's see. Napoleon Hill says the mastermind may be defined as coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. And in Matthew, it says, Matthew 18:20, for where there are two or more are gathered in my name, there I am among them. Satsang is described as the eternal, true, good, virtuous association that is characterized by the quality of sattva or goodness. And in Krishna says, the root cause of devotional service to Krishna is the association of devotees or advanced devotees. Even when one's dormant love for Krishna awakens, association with devotees is still most essential. So it's this idea that you want to surround yourself with those people that are going to help you get where you want to go. So it's so very, very important. And I'm very fascinated with the Blue Zone project, actually. Go off on a little tangent. And the Blue Zone project, if you're not familiar, is where there's the higher uh, demographic, a higher concentration of centenarians, people that live to 100 years or older. And you find these people in like Loma Linda, California, Santorini, um, Okinawa, Japan. There's a place in Costa Rica. Hawaii is actually known as a blue zone state, right? Um, I know a coworker, she has an auntie that's 107, right? Amazing. And we're trying to interview her, but the blue zone, there are seven common denominators of why these people live so long. And, usually they're not all vegetarian, but they're always mostly plant based. They're active, they garden, they walk up and down the mountain or walk to the neighbor's house, they'll go have coffee or tea. Um, they sleep well, they have good relations with their friends and family, have sense of humor, um, some sort of active, yeah, they're active, and then some sort of congregation, some sort of house of faith, some sort of um, faith connection where they go and congregate with others, right? So for these blue zone people, two of the factors are, one is they have a house of faith that they go to, and then they have good relations with their family and friends. And if they have good relations with their significant other, they both live longer and are happier too. If they're fighting with, their significant other, it shortens their life and they're less happy, right? So this is the Blue Zone project. So even there, you see like a reason why they're successful in living this age and being happy and being healthy long into these ages is because they have good association. It's one of the common denominators, right? So you want to learn from those that have what you want. You can get many different gurus or mentors, as we said. How does one cultivate um, success or the abundance mindset? There's many ways of doing this. You can read books. Some say that reading a book is like associating with that author, right? Like you get to hang out with Napoleon Hill when you read and Think and Grow Rich. You get to hang out with Wallace Waddles when you read The Science of Getting Rich. You get to hang out with um, what's his name? So many great authors. I was thinking Wayne Dyer. He's a great author. Um, he lived many of these principles, right? I could go on and on. You can live with Jesus, you can live with Krishna, associate with them directly by reading about them, reading their words. So, in the Vedic tradition, the Hindu tradition, the Buddhist tradition, these devotees, they hang out and they read together the stories of Krishna and the stories of the great avatars and the saints. And by reading these, they get excited and they get um, their minds get sharpened. They tune into like a higher state of thinking, a higher state of being, and they contemplate these great stories, and they feel empowered and inspired and uplifted and even healed by these stories, right? So you can get that association through reading. Listening to audios, podcasts is a great way to absorb really powerful stuff. There's great entrepreneurs, great thought leaders. Unity FM has a great series of podcasts. There's so many, honestly. Audiobooks, right? If you don't like to read, you can just sit there and listen to audiobooks and, get that inspiration. Mentors, go to workshops, conferences, take courses from mentors, right? Associate with others on the path, friends that you know are inspiring, that are going to encourage you, that want to do reading groups with you, study groups like this, that want to go on a hike with you to get you active, want to go to these beautiful cultural spots and contemplate the great history of this land, or any land that you go and visit and take pilgrimage. Going on pilgrimage, going to holy places, meditation, visualization, just 10 minutes a day of meditation every day. You start to, that's another common denominator of successful people I've found. So I've listened to so many podcasts of different interviews with different entrepreneurs and stuff. 5 minutes? Great. So many. And this was a common denominator, is that they were always they always said, yeah, I do meditation. That's one of the first things I do in the morning. Read meditation. A lot of successful people do those two things. And it just helps, get the mind right for attracting what you want, and getting your mind right to just go throughout your day in the most peaceful, productive, and happy state of mind that you possibly can get, right? You want to cultivate your mind, your body, everything to be happy, to be more peaceful, to get along with others. How can you set yourself up correctly, right? Just like if you were to have a job, how can you be set up to have a good day at work today, right? So every morning should be like this. How do you set yourself up for the day? And even going to sleep, praying, visualizing, going over your day before you go to bed, reading your goals, making a to-do list even the night before, right? Visualization, having a vision board, having a dream. Sometimes, the great teachers, they suggest, writing down in detail what you want to manifest, right? And then reading that every day. And it can be adjusted. There's nothing wrong with adjusting your dream, your plan, but it's about writing it down, getting yourself to feel the emotion, to get excited is the secret ingredient, you know, to you getting specific and you repeating the ritual. And it's so easy, like Jesus and other great masters warn against vain repetition, like a prayer or a mantra that you just repeat over and over and over because your guru told you to, or your religion told you to. How much greater is one prayer with extreme passion and emotion than thousands of prayers with no feeling? So the same with your dreams and your vision. You get excited about them. What can you do to pump yourself up every morning and get excited about what your dreams are, right? They say you know, if your dream doesn't get you excited, it's not big enough. So you might have to reevaluate what your dreams are. If it's not making you excited, maybe you should dress it up a little bit. Put some fragrant oil on that dream, some fairy dust, right? Another great quote. Affirmations, mantras. That's another one you can do. You can um, do affirmations every day and mantras. And so this is a point I want to. People have had issues with affirmation. Here's what happens with the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. And so we have this subconscious programming that's going on, and the conscious mind is trying to do these affirmations. It's saying, I am so wealthy, I am so beautiful, I am so healthy, I am victorious, I am strong. You're saying these things, you're looking yourself in the mirror, repeating them, but the subconscious mind is still in this old paradigm that says, no, you're not. You're broke. You're sick. You look kind of busted right now. So the subconscious has this old programming, and that's why the repetition is important, because you have to retrain the subconscious mind. So they suggest, like creating an audio of yourself doing these repetitions, these affirmations, and listen to it while you sleep, or do it every day. Um, and it can be daunting, doing it every day, and then with the subconscious mind that isn't agreeing with you yet. But the mother of all skill is repetition. So eventually you will break through. And there are ways, obviously, all the ways that we just mentioned, like meditation, reading books, association, all these things start to cultivate the mind. Just like the instrument, the mind is the instrument. The more you practice, you're going to become a master musician. The more you develop your mind, you're going to be stronger, and you're going to start to believe the things that you're saying. And the alignment of your conscious mind, your subconscious mind will start to happen, right? And the universe wants to help you, right? The universe is always, and your angels are always trying to help you. Another great, I'm just throwing things in because I have such little time left, but 1 minute. One of my great friends, she said, you always have angels ready and willing to help you, but you never ask. Just ask them, help me out with this. They're always there, but they can't help you unless they absolutely have to. You have free will, right? So you have to ask them. So your universe is always helping, it's always ready to help you. Two quotes before I end here. Cherish the visions, cherish your visions and your dreams, as they are the children of your soul, the blueprints of your ultimate achievements. Cherish the visions and your dreams, as they are the children of your soul, the blueprints of your ultimate achievements. Napoleon Hill. They say, I gotta see it to believe it. We say, when I believe it, then I'll see it, right? Thoughts become things. So again, I started this out with success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or idea. So it's not a destination, right? Success, enlightenment. I like to say this about enlightenment as well. There are infinite levels of enlightenment. You may have reached a peak, right? But if you've truly reached a level of enlightenment, you realize that there's infinite levels to go. You never stop. There's always more. There's always, you realize, oh, I know a lot, but what I realize is that I don't know very, very little in the grand scheme of the great mind, the universal mind. So success is this progressive realization, coming to this realization more and more as you grow, as you develop, experience more of a worthy goal or ideal. Find a worthy goal, find a worthy ideal that you can live for. Make sure that you have purpose in life. And if you keep progressing in the realization of that purpose, of that worthy aim, that's success. No matter where you are in that progressive realization, you're successful because you're getting closer and closer and closer to your dreams, to your ideals, to your worthy aim, and you're making the world a better place by doing that. So, thank you so much for having me. Aloha. Mahalos.
Thank you, Sakshi. That was definitely a success. It was fabulous. And it's so hard. You covered so much. And what you did covered, I mean, you did it so well. It's so hard to get it all in
I
that.
could have gone on for another hour probably.
Yeah. But thank you for your
I have
time.
a PowerPoint too, so I
Well,
want to do it in a longer workshop maybe.
yeah, then, I could see that. And your talk was a perfect segue about the law of success and prosperity, positive thinking, because now's the time for donations to New Thought. So as we remember, when you give without really needing or expecting to get back, then it really counts.
That's where the real abundance comes.
Yeah.
That's right.
And do you have just a melody you could play while we people come up to the bowl and put whatever they feel right about putting in? We have our beautiful coal bowl sitting here on a small table, ready to receive your offerings. Please come up one at a time. And if you are watching the live stream, you can visit the New Thought website. It gives directions on the website on the ways to donate when you are not physically present with us here on the lanai. Well, there's not many of us here today, so that about covers it. Thank you all. Now, coming up at New Thought Center of Hawaii in our Sunday services at 10 a.m., we're now in person at the center and by live stream. The services will be on YouTube the following day. And we do free child care by request. Today was Sakshi Zion, and we appreciated your talk very much. Next week on 313, it's Marie Claire. She's also doing program and music titled Tune In to Source. On 320, it's Dawn Barnett will be with us doing her spring equinox ceremony, which is drumming. It starts at 9:45 and ends around 12. So you bring your own drum and floor mat if convenient. The service will be held out here on the lanai. On 327, Kaya Winston is sharing insights for 2022 with music by Lori Callis. Monthly events. The Crystal Bowls are back. They'll be at 9 a.m., but they resume on April 3rd, not till April 3rd. Sunday of the month, we have a produce giveaway after the service. So I left a box of goodies out there in the walkway today. That will resume on March 27th. We have service opportunities here, which is another way of giving. We need Sunday service volunteers, volunteers needed for the free events, which also includes an online auction in the near future. And we need a person or persons to help maintain our Facebook page for Hawaii. So to volunteer, to speak to a board member or send an email to spirit@newthoughtcenterofhawaii.com in order to volunteer. You can also click reply on your weekly news. So it's time for our closing song. I think we can all stand up and kind of, we don't have to circle. Maybe we can do that next week. Now, I'll turn off my mic because you don't want to hear me sing.
E Hawaii e kuone hanawe kuhome kulai vine oli no ai no pono lani o hey Hawaii aloha e aoli na o pio o Hawaii ne oli mana makani e pamaine mau ke aloha no Hawaii e aoli no pio o Hawaii ne